What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. It is Tuesday, July 15th, day number 8 inside the Big Brother house. Veto ceremony took place yesterday, but not before some drama erupted inside the house. Who did HOH Vince pick as his replacement nominee? Plus, Rachel stirs the pot. Let's talk about that, plus all the intel drama and more from yesterday's live feeds. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Jimmy was once again pushing Keanu early in the morning for the renom. Jimmy had heard from Zay that Keanu was actually calling Jimmy, Morgan, and Rachel snakes, and he had this whole plan that he was going to do. He had this gold snake necklace that he wore, and he was going to go to the veto ceremony, and he was going to call out and make a huge speech on Keanu, tearing into him for calling them snakes. Meanwhile, Keanu, he was having his own way of throwing Jimmy under the bus, even going as far to try and form a 10-person alliance. Does Keanu have a daughter? Does anybody know? This didn't go well. This didn't go well. Word spread pretty quickly about what was going on, and it was pretty much dead before it even really got started. I don't even know all the full numbers on it and who was in it, but it was just a terrible idea that didn't go far at all. Vince was actually starting to consider putting Keanu up on the block again, especially after Keanu got upset that he had to wait his turn. Vince was having a meeting with Catherine up in the HOH room. Riley happened to be there too, laying on the bed. Don't know 100% why it was both of them, but when Keanu came in, he was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And Vince was like, "Can I just get 5 minutes with Catherine? I haven't really had a chance to talk with her. You know, can we just finish up?" And Keanu just stood there. He was like, "Bro, with Riley here, like you're kicking me out, but Riley gets to stay." And Vince wasn't having this. He was very upset. Actually, he was talking to Rachel later on about it as well, about how upset he was about it. And he's like, he couldn't wait his turn. He's like, "I told him before, you know, that's like my one thing." It's like, come on, man, you can't wait your turn. And listen, don't give Vince, like Vince won't take no bull about you having to wait your turn. First it was Ashley coming on in every 5 minutes trying to get her turn. Now it's Keanu. Like, if there's one thing Vince respects, it's the queue. Like he respects a good schedule and lineup. So do not give Vince any trouble about having to wait your turn. Rachel, though, like I said, was kind of talking Vince down actually after this big little nothing burger of having to wait in line. Rachel was like, "Listen, if you put Keanu up on the block, it's likely that either him or Zay will end up winning the blockbuster and staying. But then you're just going to have like a big comp beast that is guaranteed to be upset with you, right? So let Keanu keep making himself this big house target, right?" She actually was like, "Hey, listen, that's going to take heat off of you next week for any of the stuff that went on this week, is everybody's going to be focused on all the stuff he was doing and all the drama he's building." She also, I'm sure, just sees this as a good shield for herself, right? She knows that there's got to be people that are starting to, you know, pay attention and kind of look at her as someone that should go eventually. So the more, you know, insulation and kind of cannon fodder that she has in front of her to take any of that heat before they get to her, the better. So she would very much actually kind of not want Keanu going on the block in this situation. So yeah, she kind of talks him down a little bit there, which kind of left Vince back in on the crazy idea of Kelly's to nominate her for eviction. Probably his closest ally in the game, his final two, to put her on the block. And there's a chance she wouldn't just have the votes against Zay and Amy at all should she lose the blockbuster. It's absolute madness. And that's what happens. Ashley used her golden golden power of veto, and Vince nominated Kelly to go up on the block, making the noms now Kelly, Amy, and Zay. Those three will battle it out in the blockbuster competition on Thursday live, where the winner will be safe. The other two will face the vote of the House. Jimmy did take his chance apparently to make his speech, and later talked about how great of TV it will be. But this has happened a few times now in the past few seasons where someone comes up with this great speech that they're going to say at the veto or they're going to say at the nomination ceremony, and how great of TV it's going to be. And then we never end up seeing it or seeing it at all. So maybe we do get to see it. I hope we do, or maybe not. On Wednesday's episode, we'll find out. Jimmy and Keanu, they did kind of hug it out though later. They met up and had a little conversation where they kind of cleared the air, but it kind of felt like it might have been more surface level than anything else. Maybe it was legit. I don't know. Jimmy did kind of say later on to others that he felt better about Keanu after that talk. So we'll see how that all goes. Morgan, though, was also pretty upset by the whole snakes comment. And once again, Keanu seemed to clear the air with her and kind of mend fences, but she still got emotional later when she was talking about it with others. And then finally, he did meet up with Rachel, and this was a fun conversation. So Rachel decided, you know what? Let's stir the pot a little bit here, right? Telling Keanu straight to his face, you know, everyone was running around trying to get you nominated and get you out this morning, right? And she's like, Zay told us about the snake comment, and Rachel told him, like, look, you gotta just start playing Big Brother, right? Like, stop playing telephone, going around, having all these different conversations, start playing Big Brother. And she's like, listen, I have some selfish reasons for wanting to keep you in the game. Like, you need to train me to get into shape. Like, that is why I want you here. You're my personal trainer. So he's like, I don't care about the game. You need to get me in shape. And she's like, listen, in return, I can train you in BB, and then it will all be okay. But it was a fun convo. Keanu seemed very kind of thrown by all this, doing more of his kind of ramblings that he does, and almost trying to tell her how things are supposed to go week one. But like, come on, if anybody's going to know a little bit better, it's going to be Rachel. Let's talk about Kelly, though, and how she's handling being on the block. Well, you know what? She's loving it. She's so happy. She said she thinks she's got a good shot to win the blockbuster. And even if she doesn't, she's going to save herself no matter what with her speech. She's saying, I have the best speech paired. Kelly says that she will say, I threw the blockbuster to Zay, and this is our chance to take out Amy. Because Amy and Rachel are always together all the time, and that Kelly is coming for Rachel next week because she's the biggest threat in the game. Oh, honey, it doesn't work like that. Listen, you can't just stand up on eviction night and talk your way out of it. Their minds are already going to be set on what they want to do. You really need to put in the work prior to all that. You can't just sit on your hands and do anything and do nothing and then just wait for eviction night. And I haven't seen her do much campaigning really at all yet. And I know what you guys are going to say. You're going to say, Ori, chemo last year, he flipped to MJ with his speech. No, he didn't. T-Core, Rubina, Chelsea, they all were talking about this. MJ, they all kind of had conversations about this. MJ really knew that chemo was a better friend to her than, what was his name? Mustache guy, Joseph. She was not as good of friends with Joseph as she was with chemo. And the whole reason she ended up going over the chemo is because she always wanted to vote for chemo, but just needed a little bit of a nudge. Her mind was really made up. As soon as it came down to chemo and Joseph, they knew it was time to get rid of Joseph. The big struggle was chemo versus Rubina, if it ended up being that, but Rubina won that AI competition. And again, that's kind of how the whole 3 nomination thing ends up making it where there's a little bit less game talk and there's a little bit less concrete answers. And it felt more like a last minute flip, but really it was just friends voting for friends, right? The whole people over profit stuff that they were doing last year and all that nonsense. Also, by the way, speaking of speeches and how they don't work, Taylor didn't win because of her speech at the final either in BB24. So let's get that out of the way. Zay, let's talk about Zay. Zay was actually, speaking of somebody sitting on their hands and doing nothing like Kelly, Zay was actually making his rounds, starting to try and gauge the votes and figure out where he stands at this moment. It didn't seem to go great as they were happening, right? He did most of the talking, and it felt like people were more just kind of like placating to him, like, yeah, all right, we'll see, you know, how it goes. Rachel, for sure, though, didn't like it at all. Basically, he told her, like, hey, listen, like, I'm going to put up people who don't vote for me if I end up staying, and if I win HOH, you know, those are the people I'm going to put up. Basically saying he would put up Rachel because Rachel told him that she's not going to vote for Zay over Amy at all. Like, that's not going to happen. So basically saying, like, hey, if you don't vote for me, I'm going to put you up on the block. So she saw that as a threat. But it did seem like some other people were actually kind of open to the whole Zay thing, especially if it ends up being Zay over Kelly. It does seem like there's a lot more people who would be more interested in keeping Zay than they would be to keep Kelly. Amy also did some slight work as well, but especially I heard from Zach later on that he really felt like this was more like Rachel's pitch than it was Amy's pitch. And I feel like for the most part, a lot of people kind of feel that way about Amy, how she's just kind of Rachel's lapdog, especially, well, I should just say the other side, right? And we'll get into our allegiance chart here in a little bit after all of our info. And I'll kind of break down how I see the house at the moment and what the sides are, because I have a little bit clearer of a vision for what it's looking like. Some other nuggets of information, though, include Will. If you guys remember during Will's bio, he had this whole idea that he was going to be Coach Will, and he was going to form like a 5-man squad, his starting lineup, including himself, 2 guys and 2 girls. Well, it seems like he's at least on the start of getting that all going. He has a group of 4 at the moment. It's basically the have-nots minus Rachel, but adding in Adrian. So it's Will, Zach, Ava, and Adrian in this 4-person alliance as of now. There was a talk about like adding somebody else. They were bringing up Lauren as a possibility, but a lot of that talk was also kind of saying like, hey, maybe we keep it kind of like the group is tight and we have those, you know, little +1 situations and ways of keeping each other safe without bringing other people into this alliance. And a lot of that was actually coming from Ava. It felt like maybe she didn't want any more people coming on in, and she wanted to keep it that solid group. So we'll see how that all plays out. Some other little information too. They played hide and seek, and they were going around with that for a bit. Mickey ended up winning with a great spot. She was kind of hiding under some seats over by the pool. The have-nots were free from slop at midnight. They had a little bit of a feast. You know, nothing too fancy. It looked like just, you know, quesadillas or something like that. I don't even know what exactly it was they were eating, but it was something. They had like little yogurt bowls almost that looked like. So they were munching down on some goodies. Side note on some of this as well, it doesn't seem like they're doing any big dinners as of yet. I haven't really seen a lot of them cooking. I don't know if it's kind of a fend for yourself kind of situation or what's going on. And then I also saw some comments, and I actually noticed it too after they said it. The kitchen table is still like set like it was on move-in night. And I know that they had, you know, kind of moved stuff around when they were doing nominations, but it is back to how it was on move-in night. So it almost seems like they're not using it at all. But one of the things I noticed when the have-nots were having their little meal, what they've been doing, I guess, is just moving the good plates. It's like when, you know, you have like the family dining room that's all like set up, and you have like the good cutlery and the good plates that you only use when like, you know, company comes over, it's a holiday or something like that. So they would like move the plates out of the way and like bring another plate over, and they would eat at the kitchen table. So that's kind of how that's going on. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's really a cook in the house as of yet. So we'll see how that all plays out. But let's jump into our allegiance chart. Because like I said, I have a little bit of an update to it, and I think I have a little bit clearer idea of how the house is split up here. So let's take a look at this. First thing you're going to notice, we have a lot of people kind of in the middle area, right? But let's start off with kind of how I'm defining the two sides at the moment. You've got the Amy side, you got the Kelly side, and then Zay, his nomination's kind of in the middle. I feel like there's a lot of people that are like, you know what? Maybe Zay is good for my game, right? He's kind of not been playing really a snaky game as far as being disloyal and dishonest. And he kind of keeps saying, like, hey, if you protect me, I'm gonna probably be good at comps. And you know, I'm gonna protect you and be there for your game, especially if you protect me at this moment. You're gonna have my loyalty because I'm a loyal player. And I think it's kind of working on some people. Like I said, though, there's gonna be the people like Rachel who are completely against it, right? Because she is on Amy's side and would never vote against Amy. But if it happens to be Zay and Kelly, maybe she would consider it. But he's also given her the idea that, hey, if you vote for me, I'm not going to keep you around if I end up staying. And she didn't like that threat. So I think that's kind of out the window. They would be more likely to probably go with Kelly, especially since while there's splits here, the big thing to keep in mind is Rachel is so good. She's made connections all over. For example, Keanu and Rachel are maybe the farthest apart that you could probably get on the board, but Rachel and Keanu do have a little bit of a relationship where they do talk game and they do talk, and she's got a lot of connections all around the house. Rachel and Zach are also very far apart, and there is no connection there. She hasn't really been trying with Zach. Well, I shouldn't say that. They are in the heavy hitters together, but Zach really doesn't like Rachel, and I get the vibe that maybe Rachel doesn't like Zach as much either. But that could just be because she gets the vibe that he is somebody that's going to be gunning for him. Maybe she's even heard some things that have gotten back to her. I'm not 100% sure on all that, but definitely those are two sides as well. Amy definitely on the Rachel side very hard. Ashley as well. Those three are all pretty tight, actually. Then over on the other side with Kelly, Keanu's very much farther on that side. Zach's farther on that side. It seems like Adrian's farther on that side. There was a little bit of a trio that I was noticing with Vince, Adrian, and Kelly. I think even they're kind of like a thing that's been kind of solidified for a little bit now. There's a lot of those random trios around. Let me see. I had a list here. You've got stuff like Keanu and Zay and Zach, kind of the bros. You got Keanu, Vince, and Zach, who are kind of a thing as well. Kelly, Vince, and Adrian, Rachel, Jimmy, and Vince are what we were talking about the other day with the triplets. I thought maybe that was Triple Threat that was renamed the triplets. No, the triplets are Rachel, Jimmy, and Vince. That's part of the Heavy Hitters Alliance, which has Rachel, Jimmy, Vince, Morgan, Riley, Zach. There's a lot. I'm still working on kind of a board to kind of be able to show you some of the alliances, but I really want to get a better picture of it too. For example, there's a lot of things like that 10-person alliance, which I'm not 100% sure who was all in that as well. Kelly also had a 7-person alliance, and I don't know all the numbers on that either, whether or not Keanu was in it or whether he wasn't in it or Riley was in it. There's some confusion going around, but there's a lot of these little alliances, but I feel like they're all just destined to fail since there's so many of them. And like I said, with the heavy hitters, Zach has really been talking about how Rachel is a big threat and that they should probably get rid of Amy. But Zach also on the same side, right? When I was saying that there's a lot of people who are looking at, hey, maybe Kelly doesn't have the votes with Zay. Zach is one of them. Zach would say, hey, I might keep Zay over Kelly. But where I have questions is Amy versus Kelly. And Zach would very much like to get rid of Amy since that weakens Rachel. On the other end of it, though, I think there's a lot of people that notice that, hey, Vince has put up his closest ally in Kelly. That weakens Vince a little bit. So I think there's a lot of people that would go, hey, once that happens, maybe we can bring Vince a little bit closer. I could even see that with Zach, since him and Zach kind of have a little bit of a duo going as well. They're in a lot of different alliances and talks that they have. A lot of people here in the middle. Morgan doing very well as well. She's got stuff going on with Mickey and Ashley. Was it Ashley who's in the other one? Let me double check here. It might be, who was in that trio with Morgan and Mickey? Or no, it was Ashley, or no, that's Rachel, Ashley, and Zamy. I know there's a trio with them because they made it on because that's the triple threat. Or that's Jimmy. It's Jimmy, Morgan, and Mickey. That's what it was. See, even there's just so much that is going on that isn't even really as real as I would think. Because here's the thing: Morgan has a really good relationship with Rachel, but Jimmy often talks bad about Rachel. Rachel has a relationship with Vince, but Vince often will talk bad about Rachel. So I would even be tempted to move Jimmy further towards the middle. But I also think Jimmy is somebody who would think about taking out Kelly because that weakens Vince and maybe pulls Vince even closer to him. Riley is just above a lot of the people in the middle there, right? You've got Catherine, Lauren, Will, Ava, Adrian. They're all kind of just playing in the middle there, not really getting too much higher than the others. Riley, I have bumped up a little bit higher on there because I feel like there's a lot of people that like Riley. They all seem to just kind of view him as somebody who would be loyal in the game, somebody they can trust. Whether or not that's actually true or not is up for debate. But they all seem to kind of get good vibes from Riley and kind of want to work with him. And it feels like he has a good amount of pull with a lot of people in the house. At least that's how a lot of people feel about him. But if they're already feeling about that now, maybe they're going to notice that that would be somebody that would be a threat. You'd have to get rid of later. And I think I even predicted this preseason that I feel like Riley's going to end up with almost a Judd type storyline where eventually it's going to be like a double eviction and they all know it's time and they have to get rid of him. And then see you later, Riley, and everybody cries and it's really emotional and sad and whatever. But yeah, this is generally how I kind of see it. And you could also see why the voting starts to get a little bit fuzzy, right? Because while, yeah, you have some people that would be more on the Kelly side, like an Adrian, Will and an Ava, I'm still not 100% sure where they would lie, but I feel like since they have relationships with Adrian, since they have relationship with Zach, who both have relationships with Kelly, they'd be more on the side with Kelly and keeping her. You would have Keanu in there too. Vince as well would probably be over on keeping Miss Kelly's side, but that would only be in the event of a tie. But to get there, you would need 7. And at this moment, I think Kelly, if she was going up against Amy, would have Adrian, Ava, Will, Keanu, and Zach. That's the only ones that I can say for sure would vote to keep Kelly over Amy. Zay, if he ends up being a vote, would be a question mark. I don't know where he would stand on the Kelly versus Amy situation yet. Riley still playing in the middle, not 100% sure where his head's going to be, though he did try and make a little bit of a deal with Kelly earlier in the day yesterday. So we'll see how that kind of plays out too. But if he was even a vote, still you're looking at 6. Maybe then Laura comes on over to that side. If you get Laura, you might get Catherine, but I think Catherine is more over on the side with keeping Amy than she would be to keeping Kelly, and that might pull Lauren over that way as well. So there's a lot of question marks. We still have a few days here until Thursday's eviction, so hopefully we get a little bit of a clearer idea over the next few days from some more conversations on how this vote might play out. But as of now, it seems like Amy is the most safe. It feels like Amy, if she's up against Zay, Amy will stay. If she's up against Kelly, could be kind of 50-50. Kelly seems like she might be in the most danger as well, because if she's up against Amy, it looks like it's probably going to be Amy that stays. If she's up against Zay, it actually looks like it might be kind of close. There's people that are starting to think, hey, maybe Zay can be an asset to me in this game. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. And let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments down below. What do you think of how everything's playing out inside the house? Who are some of your favorites? I want to know everything going on and what your thoughts are. Thank you guys all so much for watching. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that like button. Hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Check out the links to all my socials in the description down below. Pin comment as well. You can check out things like the Discord, especially with the chat feature gone on the live feeds. If you want to play the chat and talk about what's going on the feeds in real time, come join the Discord. There's always people talking about what's going on. Also, check out things like my Twitter, Twitch, Kick. Check out the Ori Fund if you want to do that as well. Thank you guys all just so much for the love and support you give me here on this channel, and I will see you tomorrow. So like, so yeah, so the work here.